The Basic Instructions of Mind Mastery with Chukky Okobi, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and relevant people on the planet. Hear their stories and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their success into your life and business. The Basic Instructions of Mind Mastery with Chukky Okobi is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board and your host, Chukky Okobi.
Aloha, everyone. We're back with another episode of the Basic Instructions of Life After Football podcast. Now, this podcast is for, by, and about NFL alumni rediscovering our passion for life after football. Now, to give you guys a deeper insight into my inspiration, my motivation for this show is to help my NFL brethren heal after a lifetime of football, healing all four bodies, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. We interview former pro athletes who serve as an example of what's possible for other former athletes who may feel lost or struggling emotionally in this next chapter of life. We're talking about men who've been through the unique journey of transitioning out of football, redefined their professional identity, and rediscovered their passion and purpose in life. Now, today's guest is someone I've known for a long time. We were teammates in college at Purdue and played at the same time and era in the NFL, a 9-year NFL veteran, draft pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and started at linebacker for the Jags, Miami Dolphins, and the Dallas Cowboys. Today, he's an entrepreneur, consultant, and is involved in giving his time to several nonprofits and charities. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Akin Ayodele to the show. Akin, appreciate having you here.
Hey, Chukky, thanks for having me, man. It's a special moment, right? It's a special moment. We have done, a decent job of staying connected over the years, and to watch your own journey as well from afar, and also close and having our touch points, I think really has allowed this day to happen. We've had many conversations in the locker room. We've had many conversations post-professional career, and just to see where we both are and how we're navigating, figuring out how to navigate life. So I'm excited to see where this conversation goes.
Yeah, definitely want to help other guys get to where you are. And we'll get deeper into where you're at right now. You can see you got the collar shirt on, you're in work mode. So, again, helping other guys get to where you are. Yeah, we got a lot of connections over the years, that whole run at Purdue, from our teams playing for Joe Tiller. And so, went to bowl games, won a Big Ten championship, only the second in Purdue history. So we shared a lot of special moments. I just want to remind you of one memory I have. I don't know if you remember this, but I'm gonna just fill you in. Remember in practice how we used to do third down? We run like 5 plays, first team against first team defense. And, we had Drew Brees, so usually our group was pretty confident. But I remember it was my senior year, so your junior year, and Drew threw an interception. And so we're chasing whoever got the ball, and somebody just clocked me. A man decleated me off my feet. And one of those things where everybody in practice goes, whoa! When you get lit up, you're like, man, I'm ready to fight. And I got up and I saw it was you, but it was clean. And I just remember being like, God. But check this out. So then my second year, your rookie year, when you were in Jacksonville, and I got to start in that game, that whole week, I was like, I'm gonna get him back for this the whole week. That's all I was focused on. But I never did, so I guess I gotta just give you the win on that one.
No, I wouldn't even say it was a win. I would say, it shows your level of restraint and maturity. But the fact that you kept it in, you held it that long or this long, that's even funnier. I would say this. It was one of those moments, and I think of a lot of guys I played with, especially on the collegiate level, and the level of respect that I've always had for you, right? Someone who was very committed and intentional about their effort, about their time they invested in people, about the way they went about playing the game, learning the game, and teaching the game. on all levels, especially in college at that age. You know, we're what, 20, 21, 22 years old. And to watch you do that consistently, there was such a level of respect for you, that one little moment that I had a clean window, you know, I had to take it. I had to take it, and not because there was malice there, but it was just to say, hey man, I know that if you wanted to turn the Jets on, you know, you could have, you know, got the interception, the guy or the person who intercepted the ball, but also just let you know I was here protecting my guys too.
And it's all good, man. You know, that's football though. Sometimes you need a
Yeah.
guy. I mean, I can't get up and be mad. How many times I've done that to people?
Right, right. Yeah, because you did that a lot
You
to,
know, so,
to our guys.
yeah. So it's all good. You know, going back to that time at Purdue, you know, playing for Joe Tiller was a really special time, and you know, we played with a lot of really good guys. You know, all years. You know, whether it was, you know, you and Drew were captains. You know, offensive line. You know, guys like Light and Brandon Gorin and Gene Murskowski. But you know, I just think back to how lucky we were to have Coach Tiller really instill, you know, a level of discipline and, you know, integrity in the way we approached life. You know, so
Hmm.
I know you remember the do right rule. You know,
Hmm.
thinking back, do what you're supposed to do, the way you're supposed to do it, when it's supposed to be done, and do it that way every time. And you know, for what I do now with basic instructions, I always look at that do right rule as the original basic instructions. Like if you just do that, then you know you do well in life. And you know, when you see where guys, since we're all done playing now, you see where a lot of us that played for Joe Tiller are in life, and the success we've had. You know, it really speaks volumes to not only the character of Coach Tiller and the guys we play with, but the 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 value of keeping things simple. And so that's a big part of what I want to do with this podcast here. And you know, thinking back, so you know, we both Nigerians, we both got Nigerian names, you know, and when I think about your full name, you know, it's an African word that means a warrior that's gone through many wars and has never been defeated. And I mean, that pretty much describes you from my perspective. But you know, the transition out of the game of football can be tricky. It's challenging on a couple different levels. I mean, unless you've experienced playing pro sports, most people can't probably imagine it. So think about it like this. I have a feeling you can relate. In society, most of us tend to tie our identity to what we do professionally. I mean, think about it. If I fight fires, I'm a firefighter. If I teach people, I'm a teacher. If I perform surgery, then naturally I see myself as a surgeon. What I do is who I am. My job is my identity. I say that's pretty common for most people. You know, most people never consider what it's like to identify as a professional
Okay,
football
wow.
player. I mean,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
just picture it. Here's a young man, maybe 27, 28, 29 years old, and thinking back on his life, all he's ever focused on, dreamt about when he went to sleep at night, and invested all of his time and emotions into has been playing football. It may be all he's ever done or known. I mean, now just imagine, let's say 30 or 31-year-old firefighter or teacher gets a call from his employer one day, and they say to him, hey, what's going on? I know you didn't do anything wrong, but you're fired. And you'll never work in this business again. I
Hmm.
guess you're not who you thought you were. Good luck and have a nice life. Click.
Click.
It sounds crazy, but you know, for most pro athletes, that's a pretty
Hmm.
standard experience. So, I mean, that's the first step in redefining. For me, that was the first step of redefining myself. You know, that journey after football was full of ups and downs, and most guys go through a similar experience when they're done playing. So, you know, I'm curious. Talk to me about, you know, your experience and what it was like for you mentally and emotionally after you left the NFL after 9 seasons.
Yeah, yeah, and we all know what the NFL really truly stands for. It's not for long, because you don't know the day, time, when, venue, when your aspirations to play will be cut short because someone else deemed you as not valuable enough. And essentially, that's the feeling, the emotion, the connection that you feel when you get that call or an injury happens. And all of a sudden, there's no recovering off of that because what you thought you had a guarantee, whether it's a guaranteed contract or a guaranteed position, is no longer yours. So naturally, that's where you go to, is feeling not valued, feeling not appreciated, all the hard work and commitment and dedication that you've poured into, the sacrifices that you've made over the tenure, the years that, you've really drawn yourself and removed yourself from the world because essentially you're in this bubble, in this alternative life that you've been living. So that is hard to resonate with when you don't have an assignment anymore. That is hard to understand, and why most of us generally do put ourselves in this box of we are what we do, right? We are what we do, and and not to have that anymore. You have this high case of former professional athletes, especially former NFL athletes, who have thought about committing suicide. You have this skyrocketing rates of divorce and family dynamics that are no longer sustainable because they're trying to find their true calling and the true purpose. So for me, it was a lot of that. What allowed me, or I would say what gave me time to get through that phase of life, was a couple of things. So I've been a man of faith for a very long time. I was a young kid. I had a Muslim uncle, a Christian granddad, and my mom, who was in and out, but I figured how to find my lane and find God, right? And so that really allowed me to have that rock that I could lean into. And then the other piece was I did make a commitment when I was playing so that I wouldn't have the same experience as far as when the rug would be pulled off underneath me, to delay starting a family. I just thought that in this phase of life, or that phase of life that I was in, I wanted to go about it on my own and not have anything. One, not have any distractions, but two, I just knew I wasn't mature enough. I knew that I couldn't be the type of husband, father, type of man that would make good decisions in that phase of life. And so I didn't. And so when the transition started, it was just me. It was just me. And I had to sit there for days, weeks, looking in the mirror and say to myself, what are you going to do? What's next? And one of the things that I've always done, I've always had a plan, and that's something that I didn't know how or why, but it was instinctful. And then when I got to Purdue and under Coach Tiller and Coach Melvin, you know how Melvin was, and under Coach E-Man and just some of the coaches that I was around, they gave me structure to planning. And off the bat, so after spending some time trying to figure out, okay, who am I? What am I? Where are my values and what can I do? I started building this plan, this long tiered plan where I said, okay, first, from the time of from the time of undergrad to playing, almost a decade, close to a decade in the National Football League, there's been a lag time of knowledge that I don't have. And I figured I needed to cut down. I needed to go back into school. So I went and enrolled in grad school, which at the time too was a distraction, right? It was just me just trying to fill a void and not have to deal with the circumstances of no longer being an NFL player. And so I went to grad school. In between grad sessions, I would go to New York and did an internship for a wealth management company. And then once I graduated from grad school, I moved to New York, lived there for a couple of years. And then worked in finance, also started our own firm called Eagle Rock Wealth Management Private Equity Group, and became a managing partner in that firm. Did that. It was fun. I was traveling the world. I was doing, bringing in opportunities into deals that, regular civilians don't get those opportunities. I was able to leverage my network and the relationships that I had built over, almost 15, 20 years at the time. And that really gave me a sense of confidence, because what I realized in that period was, it wasn't that I had to reinvent myself. It was more so that I brought everything with me. I brought all the scars and all the sacrifices, and then the intangibles, the hard work and the discipline and the commitment aspect into this new field. And while 90% of it was foreign, the language, the verbiage, the industry expertise, all that was foreign, but I had this set of skills that 99% of them didn't have and couldn't attain. And that gave me a level of confidence to realize that it wasn't a matter of what I did or what industry I was in, but my decisions to go into and take risk and invest in myself and to look at the bright side of there's nothing in this world that I can't do. I'm my own limitation. And that has allowed me to then transition into the world I'm in right now. I'm in insurance and risk management. I'm overseeing a team here in South Florida, in Miami, Miami-Dade, Broward County, and Palm Beach County, and Collier County, and helping us to also pursue and helping our team to also pursue our branch goals, but also their individual goals, professional goals as well. So life's been good in that sense, but the journey to get from there to here also was important for me to be able to have and to go through. So that's what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, well, I really love that you started with, faith and, talking about different family members, different religions. Faith and religion are not the same thing. And it's just so a lot of, that's something that you clearly illustrated. It's when you talk about faith and connecting that to confidence, having faith in your higher power, that's always stressed with different clients when I'm working with former athletes that, some sort of spiritual practice to really think about yourself at a higher level and really reconnect. If you can believe in God, if you can believe in Jesus Christ or whatever religion you're practicing, you can turn that same level of belief on yourself. Mm-hmm. And just knowing you all this entire time, I could see how that really empowered you to, understand that you're going through difficult emotional times, but being able to let that go and really preserve the learnings from all your experiences that playing at the highest level in college and professionally, the different coaches and influences that we had. Some of our influences were each other as teammates, and really being able to apply all of the gifts that allows you to perform at the highest level as a professional athlete into this new context. That's a lot of what, former players are struggling to do. And, that's why, definitely wanted to have you on, because this is what I'm talking about is, in order to play pro and NFL football, essentially you're a superhero to be able to do what we did. And a lot of guys forget that, they can't see it through all the pain of that moment of losing out. So, you talk to me more about, I know you've done a lot of work with, big brothers, big sisters, and other charity work. So in addition to, running the Miami-Dade County kingpin of insurance, mm-hmm. What else you doing to, and serve a higher purpose in your new role?
Oh, yeah.
After.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm able to trust is, one, I serve in the capacity to my and our employees. And for Arthur J. Gallagher, who I work for, they've given me an autonomy to decide where is my passion and how do I want to invest in my passion. One of the things I've always done across the different levels of life that I've grown into, high school, college, and pros, was give back, because so much has been given to me. I am the man I am because of the people and the relationships that I've been able to forge over the years and who have invested in me, right? If we all could really tell our story, right, or write a book or really express our story of our beginnings, people only see the final product. So I've always given back to the community some way, somehow, right? And part of that is I have a foundation called Dream Builders, which I've had for now close to 15 years. And it's really kids initiatives in education, extracurricular activities, and nutrition. So it allows me to find to partner up with professional athletes as well and the business community and align those three initiatives to how it impacts the youth in our community, whether it's the community I'm living in or the community that they live in. And the other part is, you talked about big brother, big sister. My relationship with big brother, big sister spans back to 2008, and to have that long tenure of support with an organization that you trust and the impact that they're making in the community is huge. The other one too, which I actually also sit on the board of, is Junior Achievement of South Florida. And, financial literacy is something that not until I really got into the latter stages of my career, that I started to realize the importance of it and the lack thereof that most of us have. Most athletes go bankrupt between a year and a half, 2 years of the time that they retire from football or the time that they no longer can play. Because also that's one, lack of relationship management, but also lack of financial literacy. And once I started to understand the dynamics of that, I started working with financial advisors and people who could at least give me enough resources and education that I could make well-informed decisions. So I felt that aspect of, one, you can have all these initiatives and have young adults and young youth who are doing well and you're lifting them up, but the financial aspect of it, if that isn't coupled with it, then there also becomes a gap and a repeat of bad mistakes or lack thereof of information. So financial literacy and workforce readiness is something that I'm also passionate about. And really, it's really to support our youth and future generations. That's where I really divide a lot of my time nowadays, outside of faith, family, and everything else I do. I really find myself trying to find a balance between my day-to-day vocation and my passion for the community.
Right. I mean, I'm hearing a theme here, and that is, lifting other people up, really empowering other people in different ways, through through the job directly, whether it's helping other players or, working with the youth. And so, I don't know about you, but I did a lot of different things after I left the NFL. My experience again was tumultuous at times, searching for the business or profession that felt right, what fit who I am deep down. Now that you're your father, you just had your youngest just had a birthday, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But now that you're doing everything that you're doing, how did you decide that this was the right path for you? And what do you feel your life's purpose is in this new post-football identity and the new roles that you're filling?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. Most of us spend our time chasing something that's outside of us. And what I mean by that is because society, friends, and culture tells us this is your profile, this is all you need to be, this is all you can do. And we try to numb the true calling inside. And so I went into an industry, I'm still an entrepreneur, I still invest, and I still try to, grow my portfolio in that sense. And while I'm in corporate right now, I still have that entrepreneurial spirit. So I'm always looking and searching, but I jumped in from, leaving the NFL, to going to grad school, to jumping into finance and the wealth management, private equity lane. And I had such a great experience, but there was something missing. But I did it because my business partner at the time was telling me, this is your lane. This is something we can do together. We can build this firm. And at some point it came to a head where I had to keep it real with myself. I had to look inside of me and say to me, what is it that you really want to do? And to your point, I'm a servant. I've always been a servant leader. I've always tried to work and serve others and lift them up. And I knew that something there was missing in my time of transitioning, I looked everywhere. I thought about buying a business and just sitting on the block of business and then just working that. I thought about politics, I was heavily recruited into politics. I thought about several other industries, and then I researched this industry. Somebody introduced me to a lady who happened to actually own her business, and we started talking. I started doing my due diligence, and I realized, there's two parts of insurance. There's the P&C, property and casualty part, and then there's the employee benefit side of it. And I realized the employee benefits aspect of it is really all about helping people, one, have healthcare in that sense, right?
Mhm.
But two, there's so many different components of healthcare, and that's wellness, that is financial literacy, that is well-being, that's retirement. And when I broke that down and look at, okay, how can I continue to give myself and to give to others? This was the one industry that allowed me to do that. So it allowed me to really be natural of who I am, talk naturally, connect with others, educate others, and really help businesses and help employers and employees reach their personal legend. And so I happen to fall into it, and it doesn't take away from who I am. And I feel as if most professional athletes haven't really identified their true voice of who they are, what they truly want to do, and how can they do that, whether they make money from it or they don't, but how can they do that and then really be in their own calling? So that's the difference for me. And I think that's what has allowed me to, double down in the industry and really learn a bit more. Because considering with the people that I work with and considering those who I interact with, they've been in this industry a long time, a lot longer than I have. But I found a way, and I thought that I've been fortunate to have connected with the right people, and God has aligned things up for it to work out to where I am in a seat that allows me to make decisions that affect, a host of people in the most positive and direct way.
I can dig it, man. I mean, the thing I love the most about what you just said is, having to go inside and really is what I call a by myself meeting. And a lot of the coaching I do is getting people to connect with yourself, like really not just, we always talking to ourselves, but most people never take time to stop and listen to yourself, really hear what is it that, my soul wants? What do I really connect to? Who am I for real? Before we ever played football, every single one of us was just somebody's little boy. And when the football's gone, we got to get back to that. We got to get back to that. It's like we create a persona about ourselves, who we believe we are, and then with the money and lights, camera, action, there's girls, there's all these different things. We tend to, when you say looking out there, we tend to mistake that as evidence of who we actually are. And that's just, it's a misinterpretation. That's all. It's a misinterpretation. At the end of the day, you came into this world, your mind is just rich with innocence. You don't know nothing. And over time, you start to connect to things. In sports, that was something that we all connected to. And we connected to it, that it felt so right that we took it to the nth degree and went all the way, and all of a sudden, we spend so much time, like you said, we don't have that assignment anymore. I decided when I was like 7 years old that I wanted to play pro sports, and that became the assignment for every year through elementary school, junior high. That was always what I was working towards. And then all of a sudden, 2001 comes, and now I'm not chasing it, I'm living it. And so then the new assignment is maintaining your position. And so then you go through all the different things. You play for several teams. I played for several teams. And there comes a point when that's no longer a viable option. And what happens is we spent all these years, like for me, from age 7, focusing on the future. And then that future came, and then it was present, and then it's the past. And a lot of times, what a lot of former players do is they keep looking at that.
The future, yeah,
They keep looking at that as if that's something that you can't chase it. It's gone.
gone.
It's gone. It's like once you're born, you can't go back in the womb, dude. It's
Mm-hmm.
done. And so a lot of times we need to do that soul searching. And a lot of guys don't necessarily know how to do that. They're still blaming the agent. They're still blaming the team. They're still blaming whoever, whatever, their ex, COVID, whatever. The bottom
Something
line
you
is,
said to me, I forgot it was one of the reunions or we were at Purdue and we were just having a general conversation. Something you said to me that just resonated from that point on. As always, I can picture we were in the Mollenkopf, we were just off to the side. That's how impactful what you said. And you said humans are the only beings that do not try to reach their full capacity.
absolutely.
We talked about, you said, a plant, a tree, their
Mhm.
sole goal is to continue to grow and to try to reach, as the sun is fueling them and the nutrients and in the soil, they are completely trying to expand and reach and get bigger
Mhm.
versus humans who are always trying to look back, right? Go
Mhm.
back into the womb or
Yeah,
reduce themselves from truly reaching their capacity. And I think that's something that, I have always thought about how important it is to continue to look forward and reach up and try to expand and try to grow and try to add layers to yourself because that is part of life.
absolutely. And I mean, think about this. If you made it to the league, whatever league, NHL, PGA, basketball, whatever, if you took and you developed yourself to grow to be that big in that context, that's mastering the physical. Obviously there's mindset and there's other things that go into it, but we master the physical. And so once you can't use your physical body to bring value to the world through sports entertainment, it goes back to that principle again. It's like, how else can I grow? How else can I keep growing? That's why, I always talk about, guys healing and developing in four bodies: spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Us as professional athletes, we mastered the physical. Now it's time. How can I master another aspect of me and continue to
Mhm.
grow? Because there's, according to ancient Hawaiian culture, they believed that each of us has four bodies: spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. Now, the physical is the only one that has limitations.
Mm.
And so I'm only going to grow as tall as my DNA allows me to.
Mhm.
But the spiritual, mental, and emotional, there's no boundaries. They can expand exponentially, and you can continue to learn and grow until you're 99 years old and beyond.
Mhm.
And so a big part of, why I have you specifically here, why I do what I do, is to help our brethren realize this, that if you did that, if you made it, if some people, you made almost 10 years in the league. If you made it 10 days in the league, I mean, you could do anything.
that's that's 99% more than everybody else that tried to play.
Exactly, exactly. It's starting to, just like you had that faith in yourself that you can make it, that you could play in the Big Ten, that you can play in the NFL. Man, I can make it in this next chapter. If I can go through those 6 a.m. workouts with Joe Tiller, I can make it. I
Yeah,
can make it. And
yeah,
that's really the value that I'm focused on continuing to give to former football players, former athletes, male, female, doesn't matter, is understand that whatever you think you are as an athlete, you are so much more than
much
that.
more. Yeah,
So much more. And I really,
yeah,
really want to connect people with that. And so again, thank you, because you're a shining example. You're one of the people that, first comes to mind when I think about what more, how much more could we grow as former athletes beyond the sport.
yeah. I mean, you brought an excellent point. I think just wanted to kind of stay focused there because the fact that the four bodies, and the only one that we are told, or we've been conditioned to invest most of our time in, is the physical body, and we
Yep.
neglect the other three, spiritual, emotional, and what was the third one?
Mental, spiritual,
Mental.
spiritual, mental, emotional.
Yeah, mental. Yeah, and but to understand that the only way you grow, the only way you adapt, is really to have it's. I mean, you need all four. You need all four, but
Yeah.
the true aspect is to continue to invest in the other three. And I think that's where a lot of us lack, whether it's the exposure. I think these types of conversation, we need more of it. And we need more of it for a couple of reasons. We need more of it because, one, we have to inform our brethren that don't stop limiting yourself. Stop allowing external forces or what we read or what we consume to dictate our capacity to grow. And two, they also need to have more of these conversations, and we all need to have more of these conversations, and it to be exposed into the world, because they need to see it. They need to see it. They need to see brothers like you, brothers like me, and other brothers who are relatable to their world, how we all grew up, how we lived, like lives or minds, and to see that, okay, if they can see it, or if they can get through it, if they can go through all that, and then elevate themselves, regardless of what limitations have been or how they've been capped, I can do it too, because that's all they take. I remember the first time I saw a kid in my neighborhood that, prior to that, I never knew anyone that actually made it to college, let alone played in a Division I college. This guy's Elmo Armstrong, who ended up going to getting a scholarship to UT. I was like, oh wow, well, if he can do it, he grew up the same way I did. He had some of the same athletic abilities as I did. He played against some of the same teams as I did. And wow, that means I can do it. And that's all it takes. And that's all about exposure and having these conversations be more frequent and more readily available, so that they will see that. So I love how you set the stage and all of this, and I love what you're doing and giving back, by truly tapping into your true calling, because you've always been a good communicator. That's one of the things that has always resonated with me as well, is you've always been a good communicator, and you do a good job of really finding ways to connect to people, and you've even taken that to another level. So, hey man, kudos to you, brother.
Well, I appreciate that. My inspiration, again, is, to help guys heal, with this podcast and with the website afterprofootball.com, is really helping them heal from top to bottom, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. With all the success and positivity that you're experiencing in life, doing so many great things, got a beautiful family, 2 young daughters, what advice would, if you had just one piece of advice to give the young man or woman who's struggling mentally and emotionally after a lifetime of identifying themselves as an athlete, what would you say to them? What would you tell them?
Oh, hands down, I would say this. I would tell them, get up and go. Simple as that. Get up and go. The get up and go is saying you don't need all the answers. The get up and go is saying you don't have to write the right people in place for you. The get up and go is saying the doors may be shut. The get up and go is saying it doesn't matter what obstacles are in front of you, just get up and go. Too often, most people give up on themselves. Most people give up because they think that they need to have all the structures in place. They think they need to have all the answers. They think they need to have all the resources and all the finances in place before they can achieve their goal. And because we played in a world or a sport that it's all structured for us, right? You have a facility that you go into, you have all the weights there, and you have your workout plan that's there, and you have your meal that's there, and you have, everything's already put in place for you, so you just show up. But what life and what living life is truly about is just moving forward. And through the obstacles and the vicissitudes of life that approaches you, you still have to get up and go. And just you will all of a sudden see life happen for you, not against you. And I think when we think that we need to have the answers right in front of us, most people put their stock on having that versus just saying, I trust me. I trust that if I don't have the answers, I'll figure it out. I trust me. I trust that if I don't have the knowledge, I'll figure it out. I trust me. I trust that if I don't have the resources or the finance, I will raise the funds. So I will connect with the right people that will invest in me. I trust me. I think that's the part that a lot of our brethren and a lot of our brothers that have lost the art of trusting themselves and trusting that they already have the gifts and talents. They're already put in place for them to be successful. And that's, listen, we played in a league that is vastly the athleticism that you go against on a day-to-day. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. So naturally, we're not the best. We're the best we were the best in our field, but we were not naturally the best athletes. So we had to fight and scratch and crawl and punch and do whatever it takes. That's get up and go. That is essentially get up and go until then you become a starter, or you get the playing time, or you make that one play that completely changes the trajectory of your career. That's the get up and go. And that's the mindset. And it's truly a mindset that you have to have. And I think all of us, all our former teammates and current teammates need to have that mindset and that mentality to just get up and go.
Yep. That's that energy, man. It's that energy. That's the emotional body. That's the emotional body. Because most people don't realize emotions is just energy in motion. Think about it. Emotions.
Motion. Yeah.
And so when you talk about that get up and go, what I hear is you got to really start developing and expanding that emotional body. The same drive that got you to the league is going to get you out of wherever you believe you are right now. And that's it. So, I really am grateful that you were able to take this time and give guys insight into what's possible for them, that, we are more than just a number on our back or an emblem on a helmet. As I always put it, is like, hey, I'm my mother's son. Everything else after that, it's just a story. It's just a story, man.
I love it.
I just want to say mahalo, which means I'm grateful for your time, your effort, and your insight. And I'm looking forward to see how you continue to expand spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and you always your physical game's always there. I know you got that down. I just want to say thank you for your time and your insight, and hopefully, we'll have you back on the show here sometime in the near future.
Man, I love this. I love the conversation. I love the platform and how you're using it to really influence and help others. And so keep it up. We're here for you. I'm here for you. And if there's anything I can do to continue to help get the message out and help promote and lift, all the hard work that you're putting in, please don't hesitate to reach out.
All right, my man. Appreciate you. Boiler up. Aloha. Boiler up, hammer down. Aloha. And for anybody watching, for more information, more conversations like this, just check us out at afterprofootball.com. See you later.
All right, brother.
Thank you for listening to the Basic Instructions of Mind Mastery with your host, Chukky Okobi. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we'll see you on the next episode.